Hello, my name is Sergio Barrera. This is Practicum 1 with Dr. Valoria at Texas A&M International University. And this is the pre-conference recording for Module 3. I have with me Ms. Hubble, who is a social studies teacher at my campus, who has agreed to meet with me today. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
All right. So this is your pre-conference. The purpose of a pre-conference, of course, is prior to our formal observations, we have a one-on-one meeting and I'll ask you background questions to glean information from your upcoming lesson. You've done this before. The overall purpose is for the appraiser and teacher to mutually discuss the lesson observation and focus on interrelationships between planning, instruction, and the learning environment and student outcomes. So this, out of the 4 domains for T-tests, what we're having right now is discussion on domain 1, which is the planning portion. Of course, when the observation happens, there's going to be more of the instructional piece and the classroom environment type piece of domains 2 and 3, also a little bit of planning as well. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
Okay. All right. So, first question I have for you, and these are questions that are from the district. Okay. TEA has a whole bunch of questions that we could ask. The district does a good job of kind of narrowing the focus down to guide this pre-conference along. Here we go. First question. What objectives will be addressed in this lesson?
Okay, so the student expectation is 19B, and it's to summarize the rights guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. But the lesson isn't specific to summarizing. It goes a little deeper. So it also hits on some of the process standards, such as applying and analyzing using their critical thinking skills to apply the knowledge of the Bill of Rights to specific scenarios in which their rights might be infringed upon or taken away, and they have to figure out like which right is actually being infringed upon. So
I remember teaching about the Bill of Rights, and I liked it, and I do agree with you about taking that further, because it seems like the STAR didn't ask them to recall an amendment or a Bill of Rights. It was use it, apply it, what's being violated. So that sounds really, really good. Okay, what do you expect the students to know and be able to do after the lesson?
Well, they don't necessarily need to like memorize the Bill of Rights, but they do need to have a general idea on what their rights are and how it all came to be.
Okay, very good. All right, what are some of the prerequisite skills that the students have to know in order to be successful in this lesson?
Well, they have to be able to identify cause and effect, relationships, and they also need to be able to use information from the previous unit, which was the Revolutionary War, as well as the road to the Revolutionary War, on like what were the causes of the Revolutionary War, and then how the Bill of Rights came to be part of the Constitution and why that happened. So.
Like when Great Britain took our rights away, took our assemblies away, made us house chiefs. Oh yeah, I remember that. It's good times when I was in the classroom. All right. Briefly describe the varied learning needs of students in the class, including those with disabilities and English language learners, and how you plan to prepare to meet their needs.
Okay, well, there's a lot of, in my different classes, depending on what class you come to see, you're going to see, the emergent bilingual students, and as well as the special ed students, and I have different levels of special ed kids too. I've got some classes that have some higher functioning, like just the kids that need a little bit of accommodations, and you'll maybe see the para-professional in there. And then my other class has the co-teach kids, which have a little bit higher needs. So to plan for those kids, we meet, I try to meet with my co-teacher, my special ed counterpart. We try weekly, but it's probably more like a couple of times a month. We'll meet and go over, what lessons are coming, what the lessons look like, and the specific assignments and assessments. And then she, as well as our ESL coordinator, I'll try to get with her at least once a month, and we'll go over, what's coming. And if there are any, they'll help with, accommodation ideas, ways to modify the assignments, and kind of work together ahead of time to try to get that implemented before the day of. This particular lesson, I don't know if you can see, it's they'll actually get a copy of the Bill of Rights. And in there, the language it's the original language from the Constitution. So it's really difficult. It's like high school lexile. It's higher than 8th grade level.
Right.
So for this particular lesson, depending on, like I said, what class you come in to see, you will see some students that have, this is the original language, but they'll also have the accommodated version of it, which takes the, this fancy language from the whatever, 18th century, yeah. And it puts it in like more like a lower lexile score, to where it's easier to read and understand for those kiddos that need that, which it does fall in line with the state assessment, because on the STAR, the online one that they take, some of the accommodations they can actually click on. It'll show you that original source, and when you click on it, it'll give like a little summary box of like what it's actually saying. So we try to accommodate the same way that they're going to see it
on the STAR.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's neat the way they're accommodating now for these online tests.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, this is definitely some challenging language for 8th graders. So, very good. All right. Next question. It kind of piggybacks off the last one. How do you differentiate your instruction in order to address a variety of learning styles?
Okay, well that's I guess that's the way we kind of differentiate this particular one, but also we do a lot of different things in social studies, and with our cohort, we try to get the kinesthetic learners. So a lot of times we'll do group work, we'll do matching, we'll do individual stuff, we'll do presentations, they'll do research, we'll take it where we can walk around the classroom, and they'll do like a gallery walk. So we try to implement all of the different learning strategies, and touch on everybody's learning styles throughout the year and throughout the lessons.
Very good. Yeah, get them up, get them moving as often as you can, because a lot of it is lecture heavy, just kind of the nature of the beast. So if we can get them up, if they can take notes walking around, filling them out themselves up, and then come back, that's good stuff right there. All right, are there any particular grouping structures in place, and if so, how will you hold students accountable for group work?
Okay, well, for different assignments, we'll do different things. Sometimes we'll do pairs, sometimes we'll do groups of 3, and other times groups of 4. But with this particular lesson, we're going to have the kids work in, well, again, depending on which class, because we try to shake it up a little bit. But in, like, say, the class with that has the more needy, or the that's not the right way to say it, but the ones who need more assistance as far as language needs and like reading assistance, we'll have them in groups of 3s, and each group of 3 will have a reader, a writer, and a reporter. So, they can either decide amongst themselves who's going to, read the information, who's going to write the information, and then who's going to end up reporting it to the class. If they're struggling making that decision, then we'll tell them, okay, you're the reader, you're the writer, you're the reporter. So then, everybody has their own specific job, and it can be based on their strengths. So a student whose strength isn't with reading and some of this, more difficult language, then we'll have the heterogeneous group. So there is one strong reader in each group that can be the reader, and then, the writer, the reporter. So that's how you'll see it for this particular assignment. But we switch up the groups all the time for different activities.
Very nice. And of course, everyone has their own assignment that they'll be turning in.
Yes, yeah, everybody, yeah. As far as when it comes to accountability of completing the work, everybody will have their own assignment that they're going to turn in. But we try to keep them on target and keep it flexible as far as the grouping.
All right, next question. How will you assess whether or not students met the objectives for the lesson?
Well, like I said, everybody's going to have their own sheet, but they are working in groups, but everybody's going to have their own sheet that they're going to turn in, so everybody is participating. But then so it'll be more of a informal,
assessment type.
Sometimes we do they'll do an exit ticket. I don't have that for this assignment, but also at the end of the unit we will be doing a formative assessment. So we'll get whether they did meet the objectives or not, and we can use that information then to guide whether we need to come back to tutoring or to revisit the topic or the objective if needed.
There's so many TEKs in 8th grade social studies. It feels like you're flying the whole time. So, all right, is there anything in particular you want me observing in regard to areas of reinforcement and refinement? Is there anything you want me to look for? Your strengths and weaknesses and things that you got, things you need work on?
No, I feel like my strength is with, when it comes to having rapport with the students, and I feel like I'm a pretty decent classroom manager. For the most part, the kids are engaged, and it does help, having a close relationship with my, with the other teachers that do come in, as far as, the special ed teachers and the ESL coordinator. I feel like we have a good relationship, and that definitely helps, and that benefits the students as far as collaboration. So I feel like relationships with the students, collaboration with my other social studies teachers and the special ed teachers and such. So I feel like that's kind of a strength. I feel like where maybe I struggle a little bit is just with just overall cultural competence. I feel like living in San Antonio, I do, and the little bit of Spanish that I do speak, I feel like I can relate, and I can work with, and I can, and I understand more of, the students that do speak Spanish, but we have such a huge refugee population, and, a lot of students that are from the Middle East, that, I am less familiar with their culture and their needs. So maybe, I'm not sure how you would look for that in the class, but that is one. I feel like that is something I need to work on, is my cultural competence.
Right, and we'll circle back to that one specifically, the reinforcement and refinement during the post-conference. I just want to see if there's anything you want me to look for.
Okay.
But if not, then that's great. All right, for
I mean,
this
I guess
lesson,
if you do see me like only interacting with certain students, or if it does look like, I don't know, like, yeah, definitely keep an eye on how I interact with all of the students and see, is there, because a lot of times you don't see what you're doing and how you're interacting with the other kids, or how you're interacting with different students, or based on behaviors, or so yeah, if you notice me doing something, let me know.
all right, I will. Okay, for the lesson, what are your plans for the lesson closure and reflection?
Oh, okay. So for at the end, so they're working, like I said, in groups of 3. We'll come back after, that takes about 20 minutes or so of them working together. Then we'll come back as a whole group, and I'll put up each one of these as we go through, each scenario, and I'll put each scenario up, and then I'll ask the class, the reporter in the group, each reporter in each group can say which particular right they thought was being infringed upon. And, a lot of times, like, everybody agrees it's right, we talk about it, we move on. Other times, there might be, a little bit of debate. So, if a couple of groups gave different answers, we'll let them, say, hey, like, we'll let them explain, and give them an opportunity to defend their choice. And if, and then we'll, they can do like a little bit of debate. And then if, after that they come to the agreement on the correct choice, then great, we'll say, yeah, that's right, and move forward. If there ends up being, a misunderstanding or something that, needs to be addressed, I'll let them know, okay, this is actually like what the answer is, and this is why. And then we can kind of move forward as a class from there. So
Cool.
Yeah.
I can imagine it'll get pretty heated at some.
I mean, it depends if
see.
they're really into.
If they're really into it.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more. Are there any special circumstances I should be aware of for the observation? Like any, some of our all-star kids in any of your classes, or?
Yeah. I don't think there's really anything. I mean, there are a couple of kids that have like medical needs, so they have to leave class a little early.
Okay.
And they just have they have a pass, and I know and they know, and it's not a big deal. They might just get up and leave like 5 minutes early. And I can let you know exactly who they are, so you're not like, but
wondering why they just got up.
right, why they just got up, exactly. But other than that, like, kids are going to be kids. You're going to see their personality, whether, it depends on the day. So
Yeah, of course. It's part of the job, part of our lives.
Yeah.
All right. And is there anything else you would like to discuss before the observation?
I don't think so. Is there anything that I need to know before going into it?
No, I mean, I'll probably go in the mornings. Things are usually calmer in the morning.
Cool.
So one of your morning classes
Okay.
is what we'll shoot for. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As former social studies teacher, especially 8th grade, I'm looking forward to watching you in action.
All right. Thanks.
And this concludes the pre-conference portion of this module.